Hello gorgeous, it's Simpsons Sunday where I talk about Simpsons on a Sunday. I get into arguments with people a lot. Maybe not arguments, let's just say heated discussions about The Simpsons with people. When I mention that I'm a huge fan of this show, or I make videos about this show, or I have a tattoo based on this show. And what people say a lot is one thing, and that is, oh, but it's shit now, or oh, it hasn't been good since this time. Everything post season 12 is kind of considered new Simpsons. In my mind, that's what I call it. And these seasons of Simpsons are often written off as just being not as good as the golden era, or just bad in general. I'm very defensive of the show, and it's hard not to be because the show means so much to me. I've grown up with this show, I've grown up with the writers of this show, and I feel very strongly about the show. I feel like when it comes to consuming media, there are two different types of people in the nerd world. There are the people that love to hate everything, and there are the people that love everything. Obviously this doesn't apply to everyone, this is just from my general experience. You know, there are people that love everything despite its flaws, just because they enjoy it. And there are people that love to hate everything, love to talk about how cringy everything is, love to dissect everything. I personally consider myself somewhere kind of in the middle. I do think that we should expect more of media, to be entertained, to think, to laugh. But on the other hand, I know how hard it is to write stuff, and to expect positivity and glowing and like a perfect structure every time, not very realistic. I know a lot of people would say, oh, I could write a Simpsons episode, but could they? I like to think I could, but in reality, I probably either can't or could, but with a lot of rewriting afterwards. I mean, imagine writing a show which has this like golden reputation as being one of the greatest comedy shows of all time. Not only do you have to make people laugh, but you also have to have insightful criticism on things in the world and create emotion. It's hard. It must be so hard. And I think just taking such a huge chunk of the show and just dismissing it completely is just like a little bit silly. There is a great book which I would highly recommend to you called Homer's Odyssey. This book is based on the Simpsons podcast Four Finger Discount. There's a really great section of this book which kind of mentions episodes that Mitch and Dando, the guys who run the podcast, it's episodes that I really like, kind of post season 12. And I really like this section because they're saying, yes, you know, these seasons may not be the golden standard of Simpsons that we may have grown up with, but there are some really good episodes in these seasons. Some of the episodes on their list included Squirt and the Whale, Barthood, The Seemingly Never-Ending Story, and Holidays of Future Past. I would agree with every episode on this list. Me and my family watch Simpsons all the time. When I'm at home, I watch Simpsons with my family like almost every day. I have Sky at my parents' house, which means that we can watch new episodes of The Simpsons quite often. And I've also noticed new episodes of The Simpsons like post-season 20 coming out on like Channel 4 as well. And what I've noticed is, while these episodes do not capture us as much as earlier episodes, which could mainly be because we haven't seen them before, but one thing they do, just said do, is they make us laugh. And isn't that what comedy's for? I feel like we do put The Simpsons in particular to this really high standard because of what it once was. Matt Groening often says that the reason people think The Simpsons has gone downhill is because people always like what they first watched first. And that's why, because it's new, and they won't like it as much. Whilst I do think that this is valid, it's kind of true, like there's a lot of episodes from even post-season 12 episodes that I really like, and that's mainly just because I watched them when I was little. At the same time, that's not the only reason. I spent a very long time trying to go at this from as an objective point of view as possible, because obviously I'm very biased with this. The Simpsons is my favourite show. Obviously, I'm going to view it highly. You know, I really like the writers and the actors and the animators who work on the show. So I'm not going to watch The Simpsons with like a really pessimistic view on it, or even really a non-biased view at all. I really hope I'm making sense in this video. But I do think, yes, I will totally agree that maybe post season 8, The Simpsons goes downhill. For me, season 9 feels different to the rest of the seasons, and I even noticed that when I was a child. And no, I don't think it's because of the principal and the pauper. I can make a whole other video on that, but that is one of the reasons. But even the City of New York versus Homer Simpson, that episode starts on a very different note than previous season starters have started on. And to me, that season was the kind of transition into episodes which maybe weren't as tight-knit as the others. Now, I've read up on this, and apparently one of the reasons for this kind of change in writing and the way The Simpsons kind of maybe wasn't as tight-knit and timeless as it was before, a lot of that is due to the fact that after season 8, I think they decided that they were just going to let the writers work normal hours. See, what you have to understand about The Simpsons is in the early days, writers and showrunners would work ridiculous hours. They would just sit there and just pitch joke after joke after joke until they got it right. And that's one of the reasons why those early episodes can be so flawless, is because they have been meticulously gone through in the writing. And I think during the Mike Scully era, it became a bit more of a laid-back environment.
I just want to say that whilst what I'm saying could be true, it's definitely not a definitive reason, and it's definitely just one theory that I have based on what I've read. In fact, everything I say in this video is just based on speculation, based on books I've read and articles I've read, and everything I say should be taken with a grain of salt.
And yes, episodes post season 8 may not be as genius as they once were, but they're still entertaining, they're still funny. When me and my family sit down to watch an episode of The Simpsons, we're guaranteed to laugh at least once. And yes, there have been some very bad episodes. One that a lot of people like to mention to me is Lisa Goes Gaga, which I will admit is just a complete shit show. I mean, I could make a whole other video about my least favourite Simpsons episodes, because I mean, out of like 600, there's bound to be a few I don't like. But even now, there are so many shows on TV, which I'm not going to name because I don't want to get into trouble, but there are so many shows on TV which are so much worse than The Simpsons. Even now, they're so much worse, and they have loads of viewers. And I'm not saying The Simpsons can't be bad. As I said, Lisa Goes Gaga, my least favourite episode, or one of my least favourite episodes, was in season 14, and it's called Strong Arms of the Ma. That episode is just a complete mess. I'll probably make a whole video on that episode because there's a lot of reasons why I just don't like it. To be honest, I don't think I'll be that surprised or sad when The Simpsons ends. I remember a few years ago I made a video where I said I was really scared about when it ends. I think as long as it's done right, I'm fine. I think, in summary, yes, The Simpsons isn't as great as it was in the golden age, but you can't expect something that good to last forever, because it just won't. It just won't. I still think there are moments in later episodes which are funny, which are emotional, which are insightful, and we shouldn't discount that at all. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the matter. I know they're not the most concise, but people ask me about this a lot. Obviously, you're entitled to any opinion you have. If you think the show is shit and we shouldn't pay any attention to it and we should boycott it, that's fine. If you think it's great and it's your favourite show and you love it even now and your favourite seasons are the later ones, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our opinions. This is just mine. And my opinion is in no way the be-all and end-all. Because that's the great thing about The Simpsons, is there's just so much to look at that everyone has different opinions about it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it made sense. I didn't script this at all. I've just been like going over thoughts I had about 10 minutes before I'm making this video. So if it wasn't very concise, that's why. I'm not very good at being concise or to the point or any of that bullshit. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been really nice to talk about Simpsons again. See you next Sunday, because that's right, we're still doing this. You thought you could escape? It's not gonna happen. Yeah, anyway, thank you for watching.